I gotta go, guys. I gotta go, guys. More. Well, I'm gonna take one last one. Oh, I probably should have called somebody who I haven't called on, but go ahead.
Elon Musk. So what I would say, I'm focused on 2022, but with Elon Musk, what I would say is, I welcome support from African Americans. What can I say?
I'm also proud to have signed an executive order on my first day in office to combat discrimination against plus Americans.
Are there other industries that you think need to step up in a patriotic fashion to try to help reduce inflation or costs for Americans?
So there's not a list that I have right now for you. Right now, we want to focus on the oil refinery, which is why we put out the letter today or yesterday. I'm losing my track of time. And so we see that as an important first step in making sure that the oil refineries are doing their part, again, patriotic duty, in making sure that they're putting out capacity and they're not taking advantage of it.
Fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated. No more drilling on federal lands. No more drilling, including offshore. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel.
Is there an or else in there from the president? Is there some way that the administration plans to try to hold these companies accountable? You use the word responsibility in your message at the top here.
We see it as a patriotic duty, as we've talked about. Oil companies, they have oil refineries, they have responsibility too. What they have been doing is taking advantage of. So this is basically a bit of a, hey, we want you to act. It's time to act. We have done our part with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
I think the president's considering to compel them or a consequence if that does not happen.
I don't have anything right now to preview as to what would come next, but what I will say is that we are calling on them to do the right thing, to be patriots here. Mr. John Kirby, Admiral Kirby, he likes to call me ma'am, so I call him Kirby. I'm sure he'll call you guys sir and ma'ams as well.
I have a question about U.S. national security. How is it that you guys have determined that it's in the U.S. national security interest to ask Saudi Arabia to drill more oil instead of just letting oil companies drill more here in the U.S.?
Well, I think Peter, there's some 9,000 unused drilling permits here in the United States as well. Look, the oil production issue is a global issue. But we've never said that it's a national security interest that somebody has to pump more oil. And again, there's unused permits here in the United States.
But as a national strategic issue, then how is it how much lower can we let the strategic petroleum reserves get before that becomes a problem?
I think I would refer to the president's energy advisors on something like that, Peter. I don't know what the inventory is, but I do, remind, and I think this, the president did tap into the strategic oil reserves to try to relieve some of the pressure at the pump, and he'll use a range of tools available to him going forward. I think that's about the best I can.
One more quick thing.
Sure.
The country's refineries are aging. A major refinery really hasn't been built in this country since the late 1970s. If one were to be proposed, would the president support the construction of a new refinery or oppose it?
That one, I've not seen any of that reporting, and that is not something that I can confirm from the podium at this time. Okay.
Try one more time on the refinery issue.
Yeah.
In the letter, the president said that he's prepared to use all reasonable and appropriate federal government tools and emergency authorities to increase refining capacity. What are those tools exactly that he has?
So, look, he is open to all reasonable uses of federal government's tools to increase output and lower cost at the pump, including emergency authorities like the Defense Production Act. So the letter, just to put in context for a second, the letter is intended to solicit companies' best ideas on how to increase capacity.
Use the Defense Production Act to expand capacity.
Well, I don't have anything to share in specifically how we would use the DPA, but we're saying that the president has used it before.
And my question on Saudi Arabia, why not have the president go there and just not meet with the Crown Prince?
The president's going to Saudi for the GCC. the GCC plus 3, to be honest. It's 9 states.
I
So
understand there's a lot to talk about, but why, if the president won't even speak to the crown prince on the phone, why would he go and meet with him in person?
yeah, no, I was kind of getting there. So in addition to the GCC meeting, there'll be a series of bilateral discussions, as there are on the sidelines of all cooperation councils and summits. He will have a bilateral meeting with King Salman and King Salman's leadership team, and the Crown Prince is on that leadership team. So you can expect that he'll see the Crown Prince while he's there.
But he could ask for the crown prince not to be in the room, given the CIA has concluded.
He's going to have a series of bilateral discussions with the kings. The king and his leadership team. The Crown Prince is the defense minister of Saudi Arabia, and one would expect that he would need to be in the room for those meetings.
Do you expect that the administration will prioritize stimulus to get growth higher and curtail unemployment, or do you think that you will continue to favor deficit reduction to get inflation down?
I mean, look, the president laid out in his Wall Street Journal op-ed very recently what he's doing, the points that he's taking to make sure that we are fighting inflation, attacking inflation. One of them is giving the Fed its independence, and so we are going to continue to do everything that we can. We feel that we are in a transition right now from a historic economic growth recovery, and so going into that transition with stability and steady growth, we feel that's going to help with inflation. So we're going to just focus on the points that the president laid out in his